Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Tara.
It could be hi, Teresa, and hi, Teresa.
Yeah, I love that.
So this is the first of hopefully many practical woo-woos. That's the new name that's come through, practical woo-woos, and that it just came through yesterday as like a possible name for, just normalizing the kind of spirituality that's interesting to me and normalizing the what I love to call the re-enchanting of the world.
Mm.
And so this is super fun to be collaborating with my dear friend Teresa.
Yes, I'm so
LOL.
excited to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So why don't we share a bit about ourselves, just so that people know that we are experts in the field.
Yes.
Do you have something you want to share?
Yeah,
Background?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I have a background in dance. I've trained professionally, and that really was the start of my embodiment practice was through dance. And I'm currently a body worker. I practice something called Hellerwork structural integration. It's not just body work, it really is somatic therapy. And I support people in working through emotions and energies that have been stuck in the body, and we healthily process all of that out through breath, through movement, through the body work. I really call myself, like, in general, because I do body work, I teach movement classes, I do things like this with people occasionally. And it's all under the umbrella of somatic and spiritual integration because I've always been a deeply spiritual being, always been very interested in spirituality since I was a child. And so integrating the soma and the spirit and getting people to wake up to this, because I feel like a lot of people in our world are really dormant in their spirituality. They're not connected with their soul or their essence. And I have done a lot of self healing work so that I have become more awakened in that vitality and that presence of that spirit, and really love supporting people to awaken that back up in themselves. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
so that's a bit about me.
that's so great. There's so many things in there. I'd love to chat more. We're gonna have to have more calls. But so what is Soma?
Yeah, so soma is the bit that is derived of somatic, and somatic basically means of the body. So soma is body.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I also really loved what you shared about um, that there's a disconnect, a spiritual disconnect that your work is not, it's so easy in our world to just see like body as something just, oh, it's just massage or it's just the body without recognizing that it's body, mind, emotion, soul, spirit, the whole shebang, right?
absolutely, exactly. And that's why I got so excited when I entered this field. And now it's like this playground because it's all about integration. And many people are very disintegrated, whether it's their mind body split, their spirit, mind body split, whatever. And it's just bringing the whole being back to its fullness, really back to our mandala of what we really are, so we can express all of that beauty and radiance and power and joy and pleasure. All of the goodness can come when we really can bring ourselves back as a whole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before I share a bit about myself, I'm
Yeah.
remembering that you have the Buddhist background.
Yeah.
Well, and that's going to play in the offering today of the movement practice. Am I correct in that?
Definitely. Yes. 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 Yeah. I've been studying and practicing Buddhism for a lot of years. I don't even know how many. And I would say it's been in the last 5, 6 years that Tibetan Buddhism particularly has been very vibrant in my life. I've done a lot of study and practice and retreats. And so much of my work is inspired by that because Buddhists the Buddhist lineage is really about recognizing that the mind is inherently pure and radiant and loving, and so at our true essence, we aren't sinful beings. We are Buddhas. So so all the meditation practice has helped me to come in touch with this place of that wholeness and that spirit and all the things I just shared. That to me, that's that place.
Mhm.
That's the core essence of human. So yeah, so that will definitely play a role, and I'll share more about that when we get there.
All right. Okay. Little preview of what's to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so I guess my longest um background in terms of kind of spiritual stuff would be belly dance. And people wouldn't normally associate belly dance as a spiritual path. And so I would have to say, like, I had one of my biggest spiritual awakenings from seeing a belly dancer for the first time because I had no idea that, a woman could move that way and it be have a sense of sacredness to it. I had no idea that was possible. So at the time, I grew up on a farm. And so this was when I left home to go to university, and I went and I was at an event and I was at this, kind of barefoot boogie. And before the barefoot boogie, there was always somebody offering some special thing. And so this woman comes out and literally, like, the veils parted, and what was a very kind of cold, smelly martial arts dojo in Ottawa, Canada, just that all disappeared, and it was like the air was vibrating, and
Mm-hmm.
she did her performance. My jaw was on the floor, and I just knew I had to do what she was doing, even though I didn't know what it was. And so that led to a career where I performed for many years, and I lived in India, Thailand, Malaysia. And because I was performing at night, I could study meditation, and I lived next to Osho Meditation Center for 4 years. So when I wasn't performing, I was there. So I was studying all sorts of modalities, and a lot of it embodiment, movement modalities, that the body was a pathway to spiritual awakening. And um, and so now I work as a witchy coach or a transformational coach. And in there, I have lots of background with many, many other teachers because I am a sponge and I'm a mutt and I'm very, very, very greedy. I study things and I digest it, and then it comes out in like a flavor that's coming through, the personality that I got going on. And so I study with Kasha Urbaniak, and I've studied with, I just got to turn on my computer power, studied with Carolyn Elliott for a while, and studied with Jeff Carrera, and now I'm also studying with Mia Lika Nilsson, who is a teacher of when Horses Choose, which is an amazing way to work with horses free. And a lot of insights come from that work with horses as well, because they're a social animal, and and they're all about body. They're all about the feeling world. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're they're all about guts, gut feeling. So it's amazing to work with them. And so tonight is a dance with the enchanted realms, and that there's so much support that wants to come to us from these realms that could call non-ordinary. And apparently, I'm gonna have to fact check this, but it's something like 70% of us, 70% of human beings. So what's 70% of 8 billion? How's your math?
Not great.
There's a lot of billions, right?
A
A
lot.
lot
Yeah.
of billions.
Yeah.
So, 70% of humans have an experience of nature mysticism. And depending on the culture that you're in, that's either kind of normalized or celebrated, recognized, or usually for us in North America, it's like that's kind of like a fast track into like bad woo-woo land. And like, you get ridiculed. You only have to get ridiculed, a couple times um as a child, and then you stop noticing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I thought we could share maybe a little bit of different in experiences of the enchanted realms that we may have had. Um, One that's coming off the top of my head. This is not with this is not mine, but this is with somebody I know who used to look in the mirror when he was a little boy. He used to look in the mirror and he'd look into his eyes, and then he'd fall into like kind of like a cosmos. He'd fall into kind of universal beyond space. And it was like this game he would play, and he remembered with pain that there was one time he went and he tried to do it and he couldn't do it anymore. And so there's something that happened. I remember looking at clouds as a little girl and not just seeing like just plain shapes of like different things, but actually seeing like three-dimensional kind of like beings in the shapes of the clouds.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that as children and children in general are very not yet plagued by uh, capitalistic material world and everything, there's this wonder and curiosity as your mind is developing. I have memories of these like mindfulness presence moments as a child too. One that I recall really vividly that I remembered when you were sharing is being in the passenger seat. My mom is driving and it's raining, and watching the droplets fall onto the windshield and then on the passenger windshield, watching them just have their little flutter and movement across the windshield, and just being it's such a simple thing, but just this moment of witnessing something very simple, but very profound, because I still remember it to this day. And it was just that clarity of like watching something fall from the sky and have its little journey and continue on.
Yeah.
Something simple like that that has presence.
It's like these little simple things that kind of blow our minds, right?
Totally.
So, one of the things I find that's kind of normalizing this enchanted realm is, I can talk to anybody and say, you know, or just point out that, oh, you talk to your car like your car's alive, or you talk to your laptop like your laptop's alive, right? It's like just to kind of normalize. There's so many things like I yesterday I lost my cup. And so I just started yelling, "Cup! Cup!" And of course,
Yes.
the cup shows up when I turn around.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's like Beauty and the Beast where like the
Mhm.
teapot and everybody's singing and the chandelier is singing, and there I've been at meditation retreats and I've led meditation and movement practices, retreats, events, and it's like the world becomes haiku and everything starts showing its aliveness. Everything's starting to show that even though this like seemingly, you know, inanimate object is like it's just like a child can take something like this and start to play with it and it becomes like a spaceship or something, right?
Hmm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
And for me, what's coming up when you share all that is that everything has the essence of divinity. Everything that is creation, creation which is all around us, and everything that exists is obviously a creation, and it all comes from the divine source. Nothing is separate from it. And so it's like, yeah, it's all alive. Things can look dense and feel dense, but it's like it's mostly energy.
There's an expression one of my belly dance teachers has of God essence, like goddess essence, that everything's imbued with the intelligence of the life force. So bliss,
Mhm.
love, consciousness is imprinted in everything.
Yes.
So there's a way that, we can recognize, and people, I have crystals here, and like, a lot of people can really vibe with a crystal and relate to a crystal. If we really think about it, that, this is concentrated, who knows how many millions of years of life composted, concentrated, and then cooked in the hot lava pussy of the earth, baked, cooked, and hello, a crystal. I mean, how much wisdom is held in this?
Yes.
How much amazing power is held in this? It's just like super duper. I mean, if you were baking something, there's like there's so many ingredients in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The practical part, the practical part of the practical woo-woo. So maybe we can share a story or two of experiences of how having a relationship with the enchanted world and the enchanted realms has supported us. And I have a lot of stories. Um, I have a couple of stories where, so I have quite a few allies, quite a few enchanted beloveds, and um, there's been a few times where, I've gotten, I used to live in New York City, and so there was one time I was on the subway and I got aggressed by someone, and this was somebody who was looking for a release. This was a person who obviously was coming down from some drug situation, and they were just, liver was furious. I could see their liver anger coming out of them, and there's just like how they were just needing a release, right? And I mean, arms as big as my thighs, right? And so so transvestite. So she was very angry and looked at me and started to talk to me in an aggressive way. And then, loose fist punched me. My glasses fly off on the ground. Immediately, my mama bear, like almost like I have a mama bear in my animal totem. It was like a cloak came on me. And I just said, you don't need to do that. Why are you doing that? And the way I said it, and the fact that, yeah, this person had at least like a smidgen of that release without needing to like beat me up more, just walked away. And so there was something, and I had another situation similar where somebody else was aggressing me, and I used the same voice that just came in when that mama bear wrapped me up.
Hmm.
And and sure, I have some. self-defense background. Sure, I have these things. There's no way in hell I would have survived a fight with that first person. Absolutely not. There's no way. It
Mhm.
was, it's like,
Yeah.
it was just not possible, right? So,
Mhm.
so that's an example. There's a couple of examples of like having my ally just wrap me up. And this is because I have a like a relationship with this being that is this mama bear being.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the you came from an energy, your ally showed up with this energy that was so powerful it tamed this beast that came towards you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So beautiful. Such a cool story. Thanks for sharing it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Shall I share a
Yes,
story?
please. Love story time.
Yeah, story time. I think for me, a very practical way, and it's not as precisely like a situation like yours, but what really shows up for me, is most of my mental, emotional processing has happened alone in the woods. And I find that when I'm in the woods alone, I can feel the aliveness of the trees and the forest beings. I don't know what they are, who they are, and I don't really have to know, but I there's a presence that not all of me is even aware of, but some of me is aware of. And just being in the woods, walking, talking out loud, sensing, feeling the support around me, it's like the clarity just comes through. It's like, and it feels like it's the support of these enchanted forest beings. And yeah, people talk about forest fairies, or to me it's the trees that feel like they hold so much wisdom and presence and aliveness, and that and I have felt that. I've felt degrees of presence from them depending what kind of forest I'm in. I lived in California in the redwood forest and felt a different kind of energy there than I would here, but it's still there. And I find that that is not something I'm making up. It's mystical, but it's very real to my psyche, and it's very tangible. And I know I'm not the first person in history to talk about that kind of presence that's in the forest. So it's so practical for me. So that kind of healing processing happens in that space for me very presently. Um, and then when I feel like I need more of a deeper emotional healing, I will just lay in a comfortable place and surrender. And I will allow my consciousness to kind of travel. And it will often be met with this kind of like an angelic being that I'm not going to name. I don't quite have a name, but I have a sense, but I don't really want to, it's private. So I'm going to keep that part private. And I just surrender, and whatever I'm needing for that healing, whether it's grief or anger or sadness or unknown, it's like that, in it's like surgery. It's like I just surrender, and it's like my psyche and my emotions are being worked on, and I can energetically sense it. And then when I'm ready, I come back into my body, and I'm different.
Mm.
And this is like me really leaning on my allies to be like, hey, I really need your help. Help me. And they come and they help.
Yeah. I mean, that's the essence of practical, isn't it? It's like, help!
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
they come.
yeah. I mean, isn't that like the most like primary prayer? Help me.
Help, help.
I'm down here. I need your help. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Thanks for letting me share it. Yeah.
So um there's a few things of like I know a few people and I can feel a few people asking questions in my head. One is do you have to be careful about bad energies? And so I'll just go over like the few of the cautions that I'm aware of, and
Great.
then maybe there's anything that you might have. So, yeah, there can be baddies. And the thing is, what I understand in my experience is that the baddies don't ask for permission. They just move in. So kind of like a virus or a cold. And and in a shamanic world, a virus and a cold might actually have a mandate that's helpful. But like, let's say like there's something that they just come in, they don't ask for permission, they don't wait. And so what I'm talking about in this enchanted allies is our beings that we invite in, and we invite them that are helpful. We're not inviting anything not helpful. And so
Hmm.
what's very clear is that uh, the way I relate on this planet, that I am sovereign on this planet as a human being. And so I do get to have, I'm half fear-based, monkey creature and half goddess mystery. And so I do, as that kind of being, I do get to say, yeah, the helpful beings only
Hmm.
are welcome.
Hmm.
And it's just like another way to see it practically. It's just like your regular friends. You're not going to invite somebody into your house that you're not vibing with, or who's like cuckoo caca. It's like, go be cuckoo caca where it's okay for you to be cuckoo, but not my house, right?
Right.
So, and so relating to these beings, so one is like you invite the helpful ones. The other one is um, have as many as you can take care of, just like your
Hmm.
friends. You don't want to have so many that it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, my books are like yelling at me right now. You don't have so many that they're in storage and saying, what have you done to me? No. But
Yeah.
it's true. My books are like that. So yeah, it's like having as many as we can relate and tend to, and have them, and the way I see it, have them be enjoying vicariously, living through me, because I'm their fingerprint and their footprint in this world.
Hmm.
If I look at even just my ancestors, right? I'm the in this multidimensional being of my ancestry. There's the part of me that's in this realm that is touching, but it's like this incredibly 7,000 generations of lineage that is touching the earth through ah, doo,
Hmm.
my finger.
Hmm.
And I think those are the main cautions that I have. Is there anything that you are aware of that you'd like to add to that?
I don't think so. I think you touched exactly on what I would have said. I just have different words for it, so I'll just share my perspective and in the way that I relate to what you just said. So, um, like that intentionality of I'm only calling in helpful or benevolent beings, or if you're discovering who these allies might be and present in your field, that the power of your mind is the most important, is the power of your mind is the most powerful thing, and the intention of I'm only inviting those who are going to be most helpful and beneficial to show up for me, for my benefit. That clarity and conviction is going to only invite, like they're going to swoop in. Whoa, you called them, that's power. They're going to, the ones that are going to be helpful will be there. And you can ask those being the if one comes up very clearly, you can utilize that being to be a protector also to say, hey, please protect me from any allies that are trying to sneak in that I'm ignorant to, that I'm not aware of, so that I stay healthy in my mind and body and spirit. So I think that you can utilize them in that way as well. So yeah, the intentionality and the power of the mind. And part of that too is being in touch with your intuition. Like the more you're in touch with your intuitive sense, if something shows up and there's that like I'm not so sure, or there's a gut feeling or a sense of fear or not really being clear, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. So if it's not a like, oh, I'm so glad you're here, I feel your love and connection, it's a no. Don't even entertain it. Don't, just especially if you're new with this work, I say just say nope, I'm not going to engage with you right now, move on please. um so it was those things, and then I think there was something else, it might be slipping right now. um yeah, I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just like we can say no in to each other,
Yeah.
we can say no to the the energy realms as well. Yeah.
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 And so this this particular call got initiated by a friend who was asking me like, how do you relate to your allies? Who are your allies? How do you know who your allies are? And so, you know, there's a way that I love to play with allies. Um, I think we both have had shamanic journeying experiences. A lot of people were introduced to animal allies by doing like drum journeys. And so just putting that out there is that there's people who do drum journeys. I do that. Um, if let's say somebody wanted to have um, if somebody wanted to connect to an ally that they don't necessarily know, it's not like, you know, some goddess or some angel or some archetype that they're aware of. The easiest thing that I do and I suggest for people to do is to take a song, and a song is great because it has a clear beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end, which is basically a setup for a spell, a magical um, dance. So then at the beginning, um, cast a circle, and then within that circle, invite in the ally who, the beneficent, benevolent, helpful ally who wants to relate with you. And then with the power of your imagination, your breath, and your will, allow that being to appear and then have a duet. And then at the end, when the song is over, hug, say thank you, and then open the circle. So that's a way that is it's play. It's completely play. And to be very surprised and kind of humble with maybe some amazing, you know, many-armed goddess will appear, or maybe a ladybug will appear. It's like so that's the power of like just there's so much whimsy, so much just like delicate whimsy. So then the same thing can happen. So every month on new moon, I ask for a goddess to appear. So this is a really fun way to relate to tarot cards or to any kind of deck. And so I asked for a goddess to guide me for the month. And so this way I have this many goddesses to play with. And then I have like a very wonderful relationship with them for a month where I dance with them and and you know, do that same kind of practice. So this month was Lady of Beasts. And and so I danced with them, and I have this relationship with them. And I see these beings as the beloved, and the stories that are written about them, it's there's no end. I'm the ongoing story. My relationship with them is the ongoing story. I may not even read the book about them, the chapter in the book about them, because I'm living it. So sometimes I'll look if it feels like, oh, it's a good, it just feels right to look. But otherwise, I'm just living that relationship. And so that's the other part of when we do what we're doing today, when we're relating with the enchanted realms in this way, not just as a book we're reading, like some kind of, something that happened in the past, but actually engaging with them now. We are bringing, bringing that back into the world, and how much support there can be in the world, through their incredible wisdom, through their vast knowledge and their power and their insight, and the fact that they're available to us, right?
Yes.
So that's just a very simple way to use, um, a song as a way to both find somebody new, or, for me, I work with this wonderful deck. Um, and I also then recommend, it's like, oh, is there a god or a goddess or some angel or some being that's calling to you? Then I say, look in Google. Google up. It's like, oh, it's like, oh, I have this vision of a goddess and she's on a tiger. I was like, guess who's gonna pop up? Hello, Durga, right? So that way, and then the person can look for the image in Google, print that out, and then have the same practice where it's like relating to that being in that movement practice or in that dance. And the big part about that dance, the way I'm doing it, is like it's like allowing the relationship to dance you. It's right. It's not, maybe, yeah, maybe there'll be something that's like my own personality, but also like to just feel like, oh, what wants to be shared in the dance? Right? Dance is so great for this because it's so much in the moment and so much in the body.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not an abstraction, it's here right now. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, something that's coming up for me, I love everything that you shared. And, it makes me think about how our allies are kind of always on the fringes, whether we're aware of them or not. And they come through based on the things that we find that we're already interested in, right? The things that might attract our attention. Like I have this like little honeybee uh, sculpture that's holding a candle in the corner there. Like, wow, like I was attracted to that and bought it to put in my work healing space. Maybe there's a connection there. Maybe I can lean into that. Or, I love this color flowers, huh? Like it's just like these innate attractions that we already have give us insight and information into what our allies might be like, or things their accoutrements, or their who they are too, because they might be speaking through to us already in these ways of how we relate to this material world. Does that make sense?
Totally, totally. And it's so much to the power of play. Like there's so many people, I'm not anti taking herbs or plant medicines at all. And I do it very, very little because, like, I was playing before, I could easily put on a song. If I'm stuck about something, I can easily just put on a song and just play with my pen. And, you know, a- and something amazing will come through that'll give me the insight. It's just the power of play that that this is all available now. The drug experiences may like blast open a door,
Yeah.
And there's also ways just by our own availability and permission and curiosity and play that we can have access to all this,
Yes.
like to so much support
Yes. Yeah. And
and
play and
not feel like crap the next day.
totally. And play and dance are like the perfect way because it gets us out of that overly serious thinking brain, ego mind that's judging and criticizing and trying to figure it out. It just puts that on hold because and drops you into another state of consciousness. So that's why play and dance are very powerful tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I would love to know what you are going to share in terms of the movement practice for. Um, so I shared the kind of like a very, very spacious. Um, it's kind of like we've got meditation with seed and meditation without seed. So mine would be like meditation without seed and see what happens in that space. And then there's the beautiful form that you've created and it's inspired by your background.
Yeah. So do you want me to just share about it or actually do it and guide it?
I would, if you feel it, I would love for us to do it.
Great. Okay, so I'll first talk a little bit about it. So first, it's not my creation, so I want to be clear about that. So I am a part of a community of Dharma dancers. We do sacred Dharma dance, and the organization is called Tara Datu, and we dance and embody the female Buddha, the goddess Tara. Tara. And Tara has 21 emanations, and we have a teacher who basically codified the traditional Buddhist practice of Tara into moving meditation. And so a lot of traditional deity practice when you are relating to a figure, a deity, or a Buddha, you one of the traditional practices is that you make offerings in order to strengthen the relationship with this enchanted being, with this being that is unseen but present and available. And the offerings, it's like when um, a good friend or someone that you've been longing to see for a long time comes to your house and you're like, here, I made all of this delicious food and I made the space so beautiful and look at these beautiful flowers for you to just enjoy. It's kind of like that. It's just out of love we make these offerings. So this is a little snippet of what we do in a lot of our dances. So I would love to start. We'll do like a mini meditation to kind of drop us into it, and then we will do it. So first, find yourself seated in a comfortable position. If it's comfortable for you to close your eyes, you can do so. Feeling the length of your spine, the root of your body connected into the deep earth, and the crown of your body connected to the infinite sky. And simply finding the breath and just allowing any tension that you might be holding to relax with your breath, with your exhale. And effortlessly allow an image of your ally, and this could be an animal, an ancestor, a being, it could be anything. Just allow your ally to pop in your imagination and imagine your ally about a foot in front of you at the level of your third eye. Imagine your ally seated on some kind of throne of their choice. Maybe it's a lotus seat, maybe it is jeweled, maybe it's on the ground, maybe they're floating. Just imagine whatever they're seated on, that it's perfect for them. And if it feels comfortable for you, bringing your hands into prayer position, hands touching. I like to touch the roots of my thumbs to my chest. And Simply, we're going to have a gentle bow in reverence and connection to this loving ally. So, a gentle bow, softening the heart, softening the third eye, and taking a breath in that bowed position as you show this respect and reverence to your ally. And then gently coming out of that and then opening your hands into a cup position. I'm doing this, so if you ever want to crack your eyes open, you can see. So bringing your hands into a position where you're making a vessel, you're making a nice cup. And I want you to simply imagine that from your heart, spontaneously into your hands arise the most beautiful flowers that you could possibly imagine. And like magic, the flowers pour out of your hands and envelop the throne of your ally. See it like it's happening beautifully. And notice the expression on your ally's face in receiving this generous offering. Notice the delight, the love, the pleasure. So now we're going to crack your eyes open so you can see. We're going to lift that up so the flowers go up, up, up. And then we're going to cross our hands gently and make little, this is like a flower bud, little flower bud, and then open it up into the sky. And imagine the sky filling with flowers now, infinite flowers. And you're imagining them envelop, and then the flowers turn into this beautiful nectar. And from that nectar, your hands now, the mudra is now that the hands come down over the body. That nectar comes down and gives you this abundance and this blessing through your body. Feeling yourself softening, receiving the nectar, the beauty, the abundance of those flowers that were offered in reciprocity. And the final mudra of the cycle is bringing your hands like this in generosity, now sending out and effortlessly giving and sharing the beauty and abundance of that nectar that you received. We're going to do it again. We're going to offer, and this time we're going to imagine offering food, the yummiest of yummy foods, fruits, vegetables, cheeses, whatever is most yum, yum, yum. Imagine it going up into the sky, surrounding the throne, and beautiful platters surrounding the throne of your ally, generously offering. Please take the sacred offering. Please enjoy it. And then crossing the arms like you're throwing confetti. That food spreads out into infinity, filling the sky and instantly transforms into nectar of abundance. And that abundance rains upon you. And you feel, wow, I'm being showered. After I gave so generously, I'm receiving this gift in return. And then I generously, effortlessly, the heart is open and it just wants to be shared. And again, now we're going to offer perfume. Imagine the sweetest smells of flower fragrances of all kinds, filling all the air of you and your ally. Your ally is receiving it. It's in beautiful glass bottles, trimmed with gold and diamonds. And then you open out like confetti. That smell spreads through the universe. And it transforms into that nectar of abundance. And we are showered in thanks. And we send it out effortlessly, sharing it with those around us. Let's do one more, and we're going to transform this practice. We're going to keep going. Let's imagine the most beautiful music we have ever heard and that we want to share, filling the sky, filling with our ally, the most beautiful music, filling the space, sending it out vastly, opening it up. Spread your arms, feel the distance from your fingertips and hands, filling the sky. showering down, receiving the sweet sounds of music, filling our senses and our ears, and generously sending it out. Now, with your own imagination, so those were some ideas. Now imagine something that's particularly sacred and precious to you personally. Maybe your car, maybe your body, maybe a coat, maybe it could be anything. Thinking of something precious that is yours, that you want to offer the gifts of that, whatever feels comfortable. And the more we do this practice, the more generously we want to offer. So feel yourself offering something sacred and precious to you. See how your ally receives it. Notice the expression on their face. Receiving that sacred, precious gift, sharing it, spreading it out across the cosmos, filling the sky and the space. And instantly a rain of blessings come down upon you in exchange for that heart offering. And then we send it out. So we can do this with a lot of thought and meditation. The second level of this is to do it with mantras. So with the offering, we say Om. So we go. I'll just be the example of it. So we go Om. Ah, imagining it spread out. Hum. We receive on the hum, and then in the silence, it's given out. So those three words were Om, which is very familiar, Ah, A-H, and then Hung is H-U-N-G. So on the Hung, we receive, and then we give it out. And let's practice it together. So we go Om, offering. We spread it out. Ah, it multiplies. Hum, it comes down into our being and out. So there's a song, Oma Hum, that we can do this to. Do you have it, Tara, or do I share it? Okay, so let's just do it for like a minute. Maybe I'll just cue you because we'll just practice it. So with your best visualization, imagining offering any of the things we offered, and now it can be embodied. You can do this seated or standing. I'm going to stay seated so I don't have to adjust my camera, but we'll just imagine that offering. Seeing your ally. Here we go. Beautiful.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
so sweet.
Yeah, so that's actually a song by Tina Turner and the Children singing, and there's a whole album on Spotify, so I can share it when we send it out. But We actually have a whole dance, offering dance that goes to that track. And this is a some of the mudras we do in that dance in particular. But I hope this was helpful. It makes it fun and playful to visualize and make it be a moving meditation.
I'm particularly touched by the sense of innocence that comes through, and especially, to have the children be singing the mantra as well. Like, wow, that is very, 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 very heart-opening experience. Thank you. And
Yeah.
wonderful experience to feel my ally be honored in this way, and to see, in my imagination, the the gifts being so received, and also feeling the blessing. Like, I feel like I've had a facial from the inside out.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Very, very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. And something I love about that simple practice is it just shows that it's a very tangible sense of that reciprocity that really our hearts open when we are generous and when we're generous with our allies, and it's like they want to receive and then they immediately want to give back to us, and then we just ease effortlessly want to give it back. It's like that that divine energy transaction. It's just like breathing in and breathing out. I'm giving and giving and receiving. It's very natural flow, cyclical flow. And I feel like that practice really exemplifies that.
Yeah, and it thank you. It also it's so much in the spirit of just abundance.
Yes.
I mean, it's so there's no end
Right.
to that and to that experience. There's no end to the gifts that are being given or received.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Thanks
was
for letting me share it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was awesome. Oh, I can't wait to have another time to hang out with you.
Yeah. This is so lovely. I
Cool
just
woo
feel like,
woo is fun.
yeah, it is. It is fun. Mm.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to share some words with you. I think I feel very passionate about working with allies. I think that um, without them, I would feel very lost. And I experience that with the people I care for, that there's a big sense of like isolation and lack of support and from the spiritual realm, even if you believe in God, or it's developing these personal relationships with these beings that really can make our world feel so supported and make us feel so supported. And it's like I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I so resonate with that, and um the people I know who've told me about AA, they talk about in AA this God-shaped hole, like filling the God shape.
Mm.
And it's like it's goddess shaped, it's enchanted shaped. There's so many beautiful ways to pray and to play.
Yes.
To play as you pray.
Yeah.
And so it was wonderful to have this chance to experience what you have. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I want to encourage people, if you do watch this, if you have any questions, I'm happy to share more or have a conversation.
So how would people contact you?
Yeah, so how about through email is best.
Yeah.
So how about we just include my email with the recording when we send it out?
Okay, can do. All right.
Great.
Okay, I'll stop the recording. Okay.